There are several ways to slip into an alternate dimension. Some people conduct research to discover the hidden location of a portal. Some are unfortunate enough to wake up one day and find they have been transported to a parallel Earth. But ever since the invention of the automobile, others have driven to another dimension against their will. This is the story of Pedro Oliva Ramirez, who may have driven his car to a parallel world. Pedro Oliva Ramirez is a highly educated man, a successful industrial engineer living in Spain. He was on a business trip in Seville, that Spanish town most famous for its barber. On a Sunday night, at about 11:15 p.m., he was returning to his rented room in the town of Alcalá de Guadaira. Although the country road was narrow, it was a trip of only 12 miles. Ramirez had driven the same old road dozens of times. It wound through the hills, and there were no other routes turning off it. But after rounding a familiar corner, he found himself on a 6-lane highway. It should not have been there. The highway ran perfectly straight for as far as the eye could see, in front of him, as well as behind. On his left he saw an industrial complex. On his right he saw oddly shaped high-rise apartment buildings, 20 stories tall. He was afraid to stop, because the environment reminded him of some foreign country. Other cars were passing him at high rates of speed. They were big like cars from decades ago, as if there had never been a fuel crisis. The foreign cars came in only 2 colors, white or beige. They had black rectangular license plates, which looked nothing like the plates issued in Spain. Suddenly, some kind of transparent force field appeared to block the road in front of his moving car. It looked like a soccer net. As he approached this luminous barrier, the climate in his vehicle increased in temperature, heating up like the inside of a microwave oven. Then Ramirez heard a disembodied voice, the voice of a woman, which sounded to him like a recorded message.
You are now passing through gate number 2059. Please do not exit your automobile. Teleportation complete.
His car then passed harmlessly through the luminous barrier, and the warmth inside the vehicle subsided. He drove for more than an hour before stopping. Leaving his headlights on, he got out of his car to examine the shoulder of the highway. The belt of green grass was of uniform height on the side of the road. Exactly 2 feet. Next he observed the traffic that still pulsed along the highway. The huge cars passed only at regular intervals. One auto cruised by every 8 minutes. They were all on some kind of schedule. They were automated. Were these cars driving themselves? Ramirez wondered. He drove on for another hour, until at last an exit appeared. It bore a foreign-looking sign, marked with places that Ramirez actually knew, Malaga and Seville. Instead of going home, he decided to return to Seville. He took that branch and drove another 30 minutes. He then stopped his car a second time to look around. When he looked out of the driver's window, he was surprised to find himself just outside his small apartment in Alcalá de Guadaira. A trip that normally took only a half hour, he had endured for 3 hours and 5 minutes. He used up enough fuel to have traveled more than 125 miles. Ramirez repeatedly tried to retrace his route, but he was never successful in finding the 6-lane highway. It did not appear on any map, and when he questioned some local residents, they said they never heard of it. Some believe that Pedro Oliva Ramirez was transported to the future. 5 years after his incredible journey, the autovia was built. Route A92, a 6-lane highway that runs from Malaga to Seville. The only question is, just how far into the future did he travel?